Hey, good evening, traders. Um, oh, pause this. Okay, good evening, traders. Um, Please like this video if you can. Retweet me on X, Twitter, and leave some comments below on the YouTube channel there if you like the video or not. Really appreciate the feedback and stuff. So I'm going to go over the anchor review apps, where we're at in the markets, and what I'm expecting to see tomorrow. So guys, here on SPY, everybody's looking for the bearish scenario. I'm seeing a lot of bears out there and stuff. So some of the things I want to look at. Um, so far this week, we had a nice little back trace on SPY here. It was weaker than the Qs, and we came down to this week's anchored VWAP on SPY, and it managed to close above that. So that is, in my opinion, a bullish scenario for the overnight session. Now, if you go down the 4-hour time frame, and everybody was perma bears, and I'm telling you, holding that anchor VWAP is really critical. And I do want to zoom in here and show you the price action for what we're seeing here uh, all day today on Tuesday. From the opening candle at 1 a.m. this morning, we did not have any bodies below the anchor VWAP. So this is a Sunday night open for the anchored VWAP for this week, and we kept every body on the 4-hour time frame above that. That is a bullish pattern. That's an accumulation pattern, you know. And you don't know for sure because it's 4-hour time frames if you're going to start closing below that or not. But at the end of the day, that's exactly what happened. We managed to close above that all day long. So be very mindful of what's going on in the markets. Now this channel that I got drawn here, that's based off of the anchor VWAP from this past Monday, not this week, the week before. So that gives me that's the minimum time on a weekly that I really want to think about on these bigger term time frames. And uh, so this is kind of the pattern that I think we got playing out right here. Uh, really think we'll see all-time highs tomorrow on SPY. We're going to be at all-time highs and not breaking out. My fibs, that's going to put us right into this 50% area on this pattern. So it's all lining up for a back test of all-time highs tomorrow on the SPY. So heads up on that. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I would not be shorting this thing out to get tomorrow because I don't see any reason why we will not get all-time highs tomorrow on SPY. Now, on the shorter time frame, how is price acting in relation to the anchor VWAP since FOMC? So this chart right here, this is showing me how trend is behaving in relation since FOMC. So right now we're currently still in a downtrend after today's weakness in SPY. So that's still managed to keep us in a slight downtrend. We had a similar situation on the Qs coming into today, which flipped to completely neutral. I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, so be very mindful of that. Okay, Qs. Zoom in here. Similar situation. I was talking about this chart. This chart was in a downtrend this morning. Based off the FOMC, we were in a downtrend on this pattern. Now it has went completely neutral. So this is flipped. So now it's going to encourage buyers to come in seeing that the trend has flipped. So be very mindful of that. This is very likely, we could be seeing almost 495 possibly tomorrow. So be very mindful of that. This pattern for it to play out would drive us fairly quickly into 495. So, it could even be better than that. Get the entire gap fill. You never know. But I'm just saying the odds of this gap filling here before the end of the week are extremely high. Very extremely high. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they don't have to do it. That's the pattern that I'm seeing going on here. And the price action, because of this flattening out like this, the price action tomorrow should be expanded versus today. So that's another thing you have to think about. When it does move, if it does move up, it should move up at a faster pace than what we even saw today. So be very mindful of that scenario. Any other things I can say here on the Qs? This is this week's anchored VWAP. We go down on the 4-hour, and we'll show you how the prices interacted with that anchored VWAP. This was Sunday night's anchored VWAP. Okay, we came down right here at the open. had a wick all the way down into last week's call wall, and that's a similar thing what's happening on SPY too. The call walls we reached the prior week, they're coming down, back testing them, and they're becoming new support. That's exactly what happened today. Happened on SPY, happened on Qs. They're making the old call walls that get reached the prior week. They back test it, and that becomes new support for the markets to go higher. This is a bullish pattern for the markets, and I'm a perma bear, so I just want to just float to let you guys realize what I'm seeing in the markets. This is not a pattern you want to be going overnight short, in my opinion. Okay, so heads up on that. Now, the Russell's a whole different story. We started the brand new quarter. Ever since the new quarter came out, things are not looking too hot on that. So, post FOMC, okay, this is the pattern on the IWM. And I do not think this pattern is done. And why is that? Okay, I'm looking this 216 area. See this 216 support down here? I think this is going to continue to fall down into the 216 area. And the very good reason for that, you see how this is the range low for this pattern? That's actually where, if you anchor from the FOMC, the 18th last week, if you put your VWAP anchor right there at the 18th, that's where the anchor FOMC anchor VWAP starts. So this is lining up right with the bottoms of this right here. So you're getting that. So that suggests to me this is an FOMC sell-off. Just acting like an FOMC out. So I back tested the FOMC start. That is probably your target one to the downside. It may go far worse. I'm just saying this here does not look like a pattern that I would want to be trying to the upside. Now, I do know that in the after hours here, if you go on even the smaller time frames, it is catching a little bit of bid. So we are catching a little bit of bid here. I'm just saying that is a theory that I'm floating out there. We have filled the gap. So this is the FOMC gap from Wednesday to Thursday. We did manage to fill that. We don't have to come down any further. But based on the charts that I am seeing, it is more likely. And that also comes back down to the August anchored VWAP. So if you go August 1st, put an anchored VWAP on there, that's actually going to be lining up in that area too. So I got three things suggesting this thing is actually going to come down further instead of trying to drive to the upside. So I would be looking for strategic areas to short the Russell. And then the diamonds here, guys. Okay. We're going to run the daily on this one first. Okay, what we got going on here since FOMC. Okay, this is the diamonds. So we have broken bearish versus inventory since the FOMC. So we have broken bearish. So be very mindful of that. We are on the bearish side of the trends post FOMC on the diamonds, acting quite weak. Apples have been a major driving force to the downside. So Apple and Microsoft are acting quite weak since FOMC. So it's something to be mindful of that situation. Okay. When you don't have Apple, this is the anchored VWAP from FOMC, the first FOMC week. This is our trend that we're right there on that trend. Got the FOMC gap from Thursday that has not been filled yet. I think this has a high likelihood of filling this gap, a very high likelihood. This is the second bearish. Barring something changing, this is, in my opinion, a high likelihood to fill that FOMC gap at a minimum. Okay. So let's definitely keep this one on watch here. But like I said, this is acting showing a lot of weakness since FOMC, and we have to be aware of that situation. Okay. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to anybody who wants to study, if you go studies here, here's edit studies. Here is a study. Just let me know. Write me at the bottom of the YouTube channel if you want this study. I'll share it with you. It's a free study through Thinkorswim. I don't have it for TradingView, but I have it for Thinkorswim. And you just type in the dates where you want to anchor. It's that easy. Just put in your dates where you want to anchor your VWAP and then draw it accordingly. But this is what I've been trading off of. I don't really use moving averages. I use anchored VWAP. And I'm doing quite well with it. So that's pretty much my main style of trading, is based off anchored VWAP and dates. And like right now, I do not want to be fighting the trend on SPY or Qs. And those are the two biggest portions of the market. So I just definitely don't want to be fighting that. Um, we have to have better setups to be going to the short side, in my opinion. So that's all I got to say here. And or, like on SPY, if I was wanting to short SPY, going into next week, you know, or going into the end of the week, the top of this, the top up here, if we get into the top of this around the 275, 276 area, or 575, 576, that might be a strategic short term short. Okay, heads up on that. That would be what I would be looking for. That'd be new all time highs. So we'd literally have to go to brand new all time highs at this point before I'm actually seeing signs of of a potential exhaustion high. So like I said, 475, 476, or 575, 576 on SPY and Qs. You're probably looking at the patterns that I'm looking at here. I'd have to duplicate this. Um, that gets us up to all-time highs. A double top, given the patterns, the way the patterns are looking here, just a double top might be a shortable event for Qs. So be mindful that merely getting a double top might be enough to short the Qs, in my opinion. So let's definitely keep this one on watch as well. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening, and please share the videos if you get a chance. Thanks.